Retirement is not a function of age, but it's a function of how good and how early you prepare, on how much you prepare when you are at the prime of your years. So I want to encourage you, you don't need to have multi-millions or billions to be able to retire. That you can do it and you can take the steps right here, right now for you to retire. Check this video out. Hey guys, this is Marvin Germo. If you're new to this channel or this page, like, subscribe so you get updated on how you can learn how to invest or know more about the stock market, that it's not so hard as what most people think it is. So let's talk about retirement. Over the past few weeks, I've been getting a lot of questions from you guys asking about my backstory, asking how I was able to quit my job. For those who don't know how I started, no, I graduated as an engineer, never took the board exam, never practiced a single day in my life. But in 2010, almost 9 years ago, I quit my job and fully just focused on doing what I'm passionate about and just basically investing as a core, day in and day out. But for those who don't know also how that started, I basically I didn't just decide to retire early. It was a process also. I started working 2006. From 2007 to 2010, I was massively saving. I was massively investing. I was massively also not spending. For those who are starting right now, one of the tips that I could give you is that if you don't have a plan yet, one of the best things that you can do is not to spend too much. One of the best things that you can do is to live a simple life first. So, first step for you to be able to retire, first step for you to be able to have at least a narrative that it can be done easily is number one. Uh, you need to know and you need to set an amount that you want to live on. So, regardless of where you want to retire, it could be in the Philippines, it could be overseas. So, depending on the lifestyle that you want to have, you need to have that round number. You need to have a specific amount already, that's the amount that you will live on. That's the amount that on a daily, on a monthly or yearly basis, that's an amount that you will use for you to be able to live. So the difference lang if you're in the Philippines, city versus province, retirement in the city is more expensive than the province. If you are living overseas, especially in developed countries, uh, lifestyles there and the cost of living will definitely be higher, but there will be pensions there. So if you are having a pension from the government, it will be slightly, your retirement will be slightly subsidized, so you can lessen that. So first tip is number one, try to get your round number first, so at least you'll have a target. Because the end goal here is this: we will make your investments earn as high, so that your investments will somehow, some way, already replace your income. Meaning, if you are employed right now, the goal is basically this: your active income will be replaced by your passive income. Passive income could be bonds, stocks, REITs, intellectual assets, or everything else that can replace your earnings as an employee. So when that happens, that's the time you can start to let go and do things. That's number one. So before you can go and take the leap, you need to know how much you are actually spending. Number two, if you are in debt, if you have a large amount of debt, my suggestion is this: you have to pay off your debts first. It's harder to retire, it's harder to live passively if you have a large amount of debt, because debt is something that you have to pay fixed on a regular basis, and it will be harder for you to be able to adjust, no, if debt is there. So my suggestion is basically pay off as much debt as you can first before you focus on retirement, because it's hard to retire if you are pretty much in debt. So that's number two. Then number three is basically this: uh set a budget. What do I mean by setting a budget? As you set a budget, the goal of setting a budget is you have a target of how much you want to live on. But setting a budget also puts on your needs and your wants first. Meaning, needs versus wants. How much am I putting and setting aside for all of those needs and all of those wants? That's very, 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 very important if you want to live passively. So next, after setting that budget, no, after knowing how much is coming in, how much is going out, you need to already check how much is your level of savings. Is my level of savings, am I starting from zero, or do I have already a certain amount of savings that I can start with? Because the goal that you can do is basically this: if you are If you are not starting from zero and you have an adequate level of savings, you can pull out a certain portion there, and that certain portion you can start to invest. The goal of you investing the money is basically, as you start investing money, you can put it in avenues, assets, businesses that will make it grow faster so that you hit your round number at a faster rate. So again, if you notice it, it will always go back on financial planning. It will always go back on what your target is. It will always go back to what you are focusing on. How will you set the narrative into your investing? By the way, in setting the amount that you would need for retirement, that's where you will have to be realistic, because a lot of people set high hopes for their retirement only to check that, hey, their savings are still very very far from where they need to be. And that will be a reality check also to see if how many years will it take before you can get that round number, because the goal is you need to work as much as you can and invest as much as you can and save as much as you can, until you get that round number. So that's the biggest advantage of people who are starting early, because if you're starting early, say you want to retire at 40 years old and you are 25 right now, you have 15 years for you to be able to prepare. If you don't hit it by the time you hit 40, the amazing thing about that is this: you can either adjust it and say, oh, I did not hit it at 40 years old, you can do it at 45, meaning you have a buffer for 5 more years. The problem is for people who are starting much later and say they want to retire at 60, if they don't hit their round number at 60, they're relatively older already and opportunities will be not as there anymore. And you have to understand, if you are older, you cannot take as much risk as what most people are taking. So as you start getting your round number, you already know how much you need. You already have a time frame of at least when you want to retire and when you want that to happen. So the next step that you can have and the next step that you can do is pour as much time, effort as you can, start businesses, start investing on how you can make that number get hit. Invest as much as you can, put in as much as you can, try to create as much growth investments as you can. That's why I love businesses, and that's why I love the stock market, because the stock market is a great multiplier. It allows me to multiply my assets quickly, and that's why I love businesses, because the variable for it is the amount of effort that I put, the amount of ingenuity that I put there as well. So if you want to hit your retirement at a very very fast rate, and if you want it to be done quickly, easily, you just have to start as much business as you can. And the amazing thing about that, if you do it early, if you do it when you're young, it's okay. If you make mistakes, it's okay. It's better that you make mistakes early, and it's better that you make mistakes small, because if you make it small, you'll have enough time to recuperate and build the skills already for it. But the one of the best ways for you to hit that round number for retirement, use businesses. As the business start to earn, don't spend the money, reinvest it, put it in the stock market, and just do that over and over and over and over and over again until you hit your goals of financial freedom. Next, my next goal is basically this. As it gets to hit my round number, I start to invest them passively already in bonds, in REITs, in stocks that give me dividends, in preferred shares, because over and over it will give me passive income in perpetuity. As it gives me passive income in perpetuity, my style there will be basically this: I will let those things take care of my expenses so that I can live passively. Again, the name of the game is your assets should take care of all of your spending. That's why at the end of the day also, it will allow you to quit anytime you want. It will allow you to quit whenever you want as well. And that's why, just to end, as you start trying to be financially free, my biggest suggestion, find something that you want, a business that you want, that's in line with your passion. That's why you have to find something that you want to do. You have to find something that you love to do, because later on, when money is no longer an object, that it's not anymore a question of how much you want to earn, you can now focus on developing a legacy. You can now focus on making as much of a difference as you can to the world around you. Because at the end of the day, if you find something that you love, but not just something that you love, but you find something that is, I don't know, making a difference in the lives of other people, you know what that does to you? It will allow you also to earn. It will free you time. If you start to be retired, if you start doing things that matter to you, it gives you the ability to have more time on your hands. And time is the greatest arbitrage as well, because the more time you have to remember this. If you start doing the things that you love and you have more time on your hands, you know what's gonna happen? You'll be good at it. The skill will be there, the experience will be there, and you'll earn even more. That's why people who are retired, You know what they do when they're retired? They actually earn even more because they get to do the things that they love. So I guess that's it. And for me, what I've been loving over the past few years is not just investing in the stock market. Stock market I can do anytime, anywhere. But it's also this, that I get to travel and I get to go to places that I want, that I get to go without being confined by the walls of a cubicle, without the 8 to 5 job, because that's what I love. That's the freedom that investments will give me. So I guess that's it for now. I hope you guys are enjoying. I hope this video helps you trade well, trade strong, trade smart. Say hello to them, Yvonne. Say any comment for retirement.
Start planning
I
now.
like your energy. You're cold, no?
I'm sleepy.
Sleepy na? Let's have dinner.
Okay.
Okay, so bye everyone. Let's go.